Yo guys, today I wanted to talk about a great question that we got on the Brojo Worldwide Community Forum. We were discussing attraction, we were discussing expressing attraction, expressing interest in someone, and the comment was made by one of our long-standing members that he feels any time that he expresses attraction towards a woman that he is interested in, it almost immediately ends the connection. Why would this happen? Have you ever felt like this before? Let's have a look at what's going on. First of all, I want to say, if you've expressed attraction to someone and felt shut down, the most important thing to recognize is that you expressed attraction, and you should consider that a win. For you, that was very difficult. You probably felt an enormous amount of emotional angst about that situation. And I want to make certain that you are giving yourself credit for making the effort to be honest and to be authentic in your social interactions. That is the most important thing. But we've probably all felt this situation before where it feels as though that expression of attraction immediately shuts down the relationship. It throws cold water on the fire that was just beginning to form. What's going on? What I want to talk about today is something that I refer to as messaging. Most of you have probably heard that when it comes to communication, 1% of your communication is words, 99% of your communication is body language, movement, proximity, eye contact, the tone and speed and depth of your voice. All of these factors are communicating at the same time that your words are communicating. And they are communicating much, much more. So let's take a hypothetical scenario. You walk up to a woman who you're interested in and you say, hey, I think you're really cute. And then you start to freeze and you start to panic a bit. And you're thinking, I'd really like to get your phone number. I think you're really hot and I'd love to see you again. Now, in that communication, I said a few things. I expressed that I was attracted to someone. I expressed an interest in them. But there was a lot of subcontext in that communication going on. Nervousness, which is okay. It's authentic. It's legitimate. It's how you're feeling. But in that nervousness is other information that this girl is also reading from you. And this is where messaging comes in. From my perspective, there are 4 different types of messaging that really matter in this type of social interaction. Messaging number 1 is I am interested in you. If you do not indicate that you are interested in someone, they have no idea what's going on in your mind. And that interest is not just words. That interest is eye contact. That interest is, wow, they got my attention. That interest is very simply recognition that there is a person that just walked into my world that has absolutely caught my attention. For a lot of us, we think that we need to suppress this, and that creates a kind of tension. I'm not going to look over there because she'll notice I'm looking at her, and then it'll get awkward, and then I'll shoot myself in the foot, and I'll blow my chances to connect, do anything but look at her. Oh, she's looking in my direction. And we start to really create problems for ourselves in this communication. Be interested authentically. But this is where number 2 really becomes important. Be respectful. The messaging that you want to communicate here is, you are safe with me. You can trust me. If you don't want to connect with me, if you don't want to interact with me, if I am bothering you in your world, I am going to respect that. And I'm going to respectfully walk away. And that is absolutely fine. This is very, very important because what will happen is a lot of guys will begin to develop their ability to express attraction, but they'll do it so enthusiastically, it comes off as aggressive. We had one situation in Brojo a few years ago where one of our guys enthusiastically approached a girl on the street that he just happened to see walking by. And he wanted to tell her how beautiful he thought she was. And that was fantastic. But he immediately began walking alongside her, talking and waving his hands around wildly and excitedly. Wow, you're incredibly beautiful. And suddenly, she was never given the opportunity to communicate how she felt in that situation. She was never asked, hey, is it okay if I walk with you for a minute? I just wanted to have a chat with you. Or, hey, let me know if I'm bothering you. I'm happy to walk away. Or giving some space and some depth and some consideration for her emotions. If you do not do this, the messaging that you're sending is, I am a stalker. I'm going to pursue you enthusiastically and wholeheartedly, and I'm going to keep chasing you without ever giving up until you give in and say yes or call the cops. One of those two. This is not the messaging that you want to send. The messaging that you want to send is, I respect you and I like you, and it is up to you to decide whether you want to like me back and whether you want this conversation to progress. The third important piece of messaging that you need to communicate is that I want to see you again. I'm interested in this going somewhere. The reason this is different from the first messaging, I'm interested in you. Quite often, we'll see someone who, wow, that's a fantastic person, and you can communicate that straight away. You absolutely should communicate that straight away. But you may never see this person again. That's very different from communicating that I would like the opportunity to connect with you and get to know you better. And this is where the concept of the invitation becomes very important. This is where you are offering them the opportunity to spend some time with you, share a bit about who they are, and get to know you better. And the fourth important aspect of messaging is, I am worthy of you. What you want to communicate here in your body language, in your tone of voice, in your level of comfort and self-respect, in all aspects of your communication, is that the two of you are roughly equal in value in your mind. If you approach somebody that you imagine is a 10, and you imagine that on their scale you are a 3, you are going to find it very, very difficult to approach this situation with a balanced mind. What generally happens is that you begin avoiding eye contact, you begin slumping your shoulders, you begin putting your hands in somewhere, you feel vulnerable, and everything about you screams, I am not worthy of you. When I first began practicing social confidence and practicing social skills, I encountered a number of situations where I would approach someone that I was very interested in, and then I would immediately begin closing down because my mind started playing that not good enough game. The person who I was interacting with was often absolutely interested to know more, absolutely interested to have a conversation, absolutely interested to find out more about who this guy was. But as I began to close down, I began to lower myself and lower myself and lower myself in the status of that relationship until finally she just had to say, yeah, I guess I'll see you around sometime. And there was no possibility for a connection to form. These 4 pillars of building a connection are very, very important when you are expressing attraction to someone you're interested in. If you feel like your expressions of attraction are killing your connections in the same way that throwing a bucket of cold ice water onto a just barely lit match would snuff it out, then these are the questions that you want to ask. Your words are saying one thing, but what is your body saying? What is your eye contact saying? How nervous are you? Are you actually showing interest in this person, or are you holding back? Are you aware of this person's emotions? Are you in control of your own emotions? Have you invited them to something so that a relationship could actually progress? Do they actually know whether you're interested in them or just think that they're kind of attractive? And most importantly, do you see yourself as being worthy of their time? Why should they invest their time in you? It is essential to represent yourself as a man of value, at least in your own eyes, in your own life, someone who is going places, someone with dreams and aspirations. Even if your life right now isn't all that, stay tuned because you're going to change the world someday. Now, before you go and run out and begin trying to practice this, I want to make it clear that a lot of this messaging related to body language, related to your emotional state, related to your eye contact, related to your tone, your speed of voice, a lot of this is going to be subconscious. It's so deeply programmed and so deeply automated in your social interactions, you're probably not even aware when it's happening. The key to developing this is to go practice all the time. Just like going to the gym every day, you are continually building connections in this way. And every time you do, you analyze what happened, what did I feel, how could I have communicated more clearly, how could my intentions have been made more clear, did I respect her? Was I in control of my own emotions? Did I make eye contact? Was I too aggressive? Or was I not clear enough that I was actually really interested in this person? It will take you a long time to develop this to the point that you no longer have to think about it. So don't expect an overnight transformation. If you're really struggling with your connections and you don't understand where things are falling apart, make sure to message me, Mike@brojo.org. I'd love to help you out.